All right, ladies and germs. That wasn't my best fade out, not my worst, but once again, doing it with a mouse on a
Awesome.
computer
Good to
that's
be back
struggling
in
to
the air.
process all the data. It's out. Welcome to, and not a dial on an actual soundboard. So welcome to episode 26 here of the Empire and Exile podcast.
It's about a week and a half, I think, yeah.
Week by Josh. Yeah. So we missed last week because, actually, it was last 2 weeks. Because 2 weeks ago I was, last week, weeks ago rather, I was dying, not literally. No, I got the actual flu. I did not get the coof.
No COVIDs for you?
The actual flu.
No,
although
no
I sure
COVIDs
seem
happening?
to have every symptom of the actual coof. So, but
how's that? So you got the thing up the nose.
I have not had the coof. I still don't have the coof. No coof.
What's the Q-tip up the nose? It's not.
No. Nope, not this round. Just got the regular old seasonal flu. It's not that bad, man. So now I need to make 6 tests total taken of the nasal swab variety, and none of them have been that bad. As long as you remember to keep breathing.
So it's not that one that's like
they're
that's
not the original,
a foot long or whatever.
They're not the original generation test where they had to like tickle your brain. The current issue, it's just like the base of the inside of your nasal cavity, running around the perimeter 4 or 5 times each side, and voila, that's it. No, you're not sticking the whole. No, you're not sticking the whole pen up.
Because I'll be honest, the way I heard about it, maybe I've been watching too many videos on BitChute, but the way that was described to me,
think of it as a Q-tip, and
it scared the crap out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, you're not sticking a Q-tip up to my brain, man.
No, not for me. The very beginning, the PCR style test has been around for a while. That's used for their, other reasons. Like the PCR test has been around forever, for a long time. The off-the-shelf solution that was ready before any sort of emergency production or efforts took place was a shove it up your nose to your, not literally to your brain, but to your brain.
No,
swab around in there and pull it out and then run the same test. Now they've determined they don't need to do that anymore. So just, some sort inside your nasal cavity is all. And then in China, the Chinese have started sticking test swabs up your booty hole, because they deem it to be more accurate because the Rona.
Hey there, COVID. I see you. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Test positive for it in your nasal cavity. They'll be able to find it in your poop. Because on that same China, so the WHO after Wuhan to do an origins investigation on the coof, finally got in this week. After only 3 hours, they declared it. It wasn't a lab leak. That didn't happen here. We could totally determine that after 10 months, 11, 12 months later.
It was because somebody ate,
and they to believe that.
It was because somebody ate a bat, though, right? Isn't that the real reason why COVID happened? Some Chinese dude ate a bat.
No, China claims it was. China claims that it was found. It was brought into the country inside frozen imported meat. The intelligence think it was a accidental research level 3 lab within Wuhan, looking at the genetic sequencing, a biologist who I trust on this. His name is God, why am I forgetting his name? Weinstein's the last name. Brett Weinstein. His explanation for it after his examination of the genetic code of it was you can get some of these of this virus naturally. It's unlikely that you get all of them through a random mutation. I'm thinking it was an accidental gain of function leak, but of course, the Chinese will never admit to that, because then all of a sudden they'd be responsible for all the economic destruction and whatnot, which, whatever. Anyway,
I just know what the news told me.
Nothing's going to happen.
The news told me like 9 months
Josh,
ago
that was your first mistake.
that they told me that somebody went to a wet market and made soup with a bat, and so now we all got the Rona. So that's what I'm sticking with.
Whatever. I mean, well, not, at this point, cat's out of the bag. It's not done anyway.
By the way, I am a full-out libertarian, which means not only for American citizens, but you people in China, I fully respect your right to eat bats right out of the tree if you want to. It's your right. It's your right. Oh, you never seen the video of that old Chinese broad eating the bats right out of the tree? Finding the little thing? Oh, it's adorable. Oh,
well, it's more like they're more likely out of the cave, but yeah. I don't think I'm gonna go seek that out. But we let's get back into the topic hand in a video version. They're live or recorded. We've got the Time magazine.
I'll provide your air quotes for you.
Expose about the not so secret cabal to fortify the election. Their words. Fortify. And just remember, folks, it's only fraud if they do it. Describing the John Podholzer, I believe he's the guy behind Pod Save America, if I remember correctly, running a behind the scenes to coordinate social action, legal action, political action, and otherwise to influence the way they wanted it to go. And it also involved stereotypically right-wing political business interests, such as the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, colluding with them as well too. That's stereotypically an establishment party and initiated towards Republicans, joining forces with the Exile, because the Chamber of Commerce was only interested in Trump's loss, and according to the expose, because then the rabble, this isn't a direct quote, this is my interpretation of it, the rabble won't burn down any more targets, or they'll come for Walmart next, or we can't afford the business disruption because the rabble will be rioting. So therefore, Orange Man bad, Orange Man must lose. Just so they did it out of a hostage negotiation. Please don't burn us down. We'll go against our normal interests and put in Grandpa Joe. So and it also goes on and exposes and just the piece. All those involved. This isn't some piece that magazine investigative journalism into existence. This is the folks involved. They wanted to brag about it, about all this stuff they did. Now, what they did, for the most part, in my opinion, well done, Great, guys. Great freak. Congratulations. I wish the right wing worked like you guys did. Just the coordination.
Mm-hmm.
The effort. And you notice that, and this continued on into the events of January 6th. You notice how, and all the, and January 6th, left wing counter demonstrators or demonstrators of largely a left wing bent, they were nowhere to be found. They weren't at any. These people coordinated and bust people in.
It's the
for shenanigans. Stuff wasn't organic. This wasn't an organic social movement. It was a very small select group of activists using the rabble as idiots. Because, Orange Man bad. But you know what? Hey, I'm pissed. I can't lie. Well done. Good game. You knew the rule book. You played within the outside of some. There was part of the group's efforts was to put pressure on at the state level, change election systems to incentivize mail-in ballot. And that started Corona. To, in their words, allowing more people to vote, not necessarily, not the right people to vote, but who are legally eligible. They wanted to blur that line and just doesn't matter. We're going to allow everybody to vote, even though it's against the law. And they applied pressure and an analysis. I forget who did it, but 24 states during the 2020 election cycle broke their own laws and modified their elections outside of their own rules. 24 of 50 states violated their own laws to modify their elect. A lot of that with the pressure put on by this group. Like the part of the lawsuits that you saw within the state of Pennsylvania, which were thrown out not on the merit, fuckers, if you actually learn to read, they were thrown out on the doctrine of latches. So latches meaning that, to summarize, and I'm not an attorney, I'm not a constitutional scholar, this is my understanding of it. That's the court saying that while you may have been wronged, there's nothing we can do to fix it. It's cheat. Don't waste our time. So they're dismissing it on latches. It's over. We're sorry. Which at the time, the Giuliani and co. were challenging the result all over the country. It wasn't too late. That was bullshit, but that was the excuse and the reason. Oh, by the way, Democrat mega attorney Mark Elias is still in a congressional district in New York and in Iowa, ironically citing voting machine irregularities. Remember, it's only fraud if they do it. I want to get your reaction. I know I've just been ranting
for that's all right.
15 minutes here. Your reaction to this Time Magazine piece. The Time Magazine piece, the title of it is in the description of our stream here. It will be anywhere else you find it as well. Also, if you're watching a condensed URL on the screen, which gets you to it. Your reactions, your thoughts, because you did not know about this article until I shared it with you, Sunday or Monday? It was written about it.
I read it today. Honestly. Yeah, no, I didn't read it till today. I'll be perfectly honest. And for those of you that didn't read it, I was trying to find the word to describe it, and it is sophistry. It is absolute sophistry. in the worst possible way. It is almost this this article might as well have been written by a James Bond villain. That's what it sounds like. But unlike the James Bond movies, the villain actually won this time, and they cannot help but reveal their diabolical plan because the plan was so good. The plan is so good that they can't help but reveal it. Yeah, and it's mm-hmm. No, it's no, for sure. I mean, this is one of those I picture, Donald Trump, chained up in a room,
We didn't
being hovered over some lava
it.
or something, and I'm like,
Remember,
oh, do you expect me to accept the election results? Like, no, Mr. Trump, we expect you to die. This is that's like what this article, that's the theme I got from this article, was just, like, now that it's over, we can't, we have to reveal how diabolical our plan truly was. And you know what? I don't see anything in there where they're breaking laws. It's there. But this is the worst kind of politics.
Well, outside,
but it
like I
matter.
mentioned, they have something because the states broke their laws based on pressure. That's not a crime or any sort of infraction on the cabal's part.
That is the equivalent.
You're not going to necessarily get them on conspiracy to commit fraud or something. I mean, that would be a bridge too far in my mind. But, possibly violations of campaign due to some meetings behind the scenes and collusion with big tech CEOs. Specifically, the article specifically mentions the leaders of this group meeting with Zuck and Jack Dorsey to encourage them to stamp out right-wing disinformation, which that'll disinformation or political spin is not something unique to political right. You actually look at and do a scientific dive into disinformation on the internet, you're more likely to find people believe conspiracies on the low information left. The number one new media website for left of center folks to get their information from by traffic is Occupy Democrats. That place might as well be QAnon. It's Blue Anon. Just shit. Just it's Demonon, Blue Anon, whatever you want to call it. Not to say the rabble on the right or the folks on the right are guilty of the same, don't have the same sins on their conscience here, but come on, folks. This isn't, the way that it's played it's not a unique thing to the political spectrum. Both sides are largely of this, of disinformation, and largely most of this disinformation, want to call it that, be summarized as an uncharitable interpretation of your opponent's or just flat out lying about it. It's an uncharitable interpretation of your opponent's decision or position. Well, welcome to politics, Buttercup. That's that's how the game is played.
Yeah, basically.
But at the time, everything that also confirms everything the internet right, or the right-wing Twitter or the right-wing social media groups or new media on the right wing has been saying over the last 18 months about, we're being censored, we're being shadow banned, we're being yada yada, the rules are not being applied equally. They just fucking admitted to that they've been doing it the entire time. That every claim of fuckery or shenanigans is true. Like, while that vindication is awesome for some people, that's not enough. And especially now that the American political right is essentially out of power entirely at the federal level, that they're just not as good, was bullshit. You want to see how recensored the internet is? Look up information about this article that we're discussing on a Google browser, logged in, logged out, otherwise through Google.com or through a unmoderated, unfiltered search engine. Go. Now, DuckDuckGo is not perfect, but a lot better.
And Dorf,
we're hell of a lot better. I have switched over almost exclusively, although we're using a Google product tonight to communicate with each other, go together, and to broadcast this live. Right. Outside of that, I am entirely away from Google products.
No, Dorf, and the thing is, the idea that reactions
I'm sick
to this
of being
article
told what I see with my own eyes isn't real.
Are being hidden from people or
anyway,
being deflected away is really strange. We are talking about a Time magazine article. Time magazine. It's the magazine. It's it is the magazine of the modern world, if you will. I mean, if magazines are going out of style, but if you took a poll, on Family Feud, right? Yeah, I mean, if you're on Family Feud and they say the last magazine to survive the destruction of the magazines will be Time magazine?
Time might be the only one to survive.
73% of the people said Time magazine. That's what it would be. That's what it would be. Now, Dorf, I know, when we were doing the back and forth before, you had said something along the lines of, I had said they didn't do anything illegal. You had said they did. I don't disagree with you, but the analogy is this. I think you're right. But what they're admitting to at this point would be like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers admitting to holding right now. Doesn't matter. Even if it's 100% true, it doesn't matter. They won the Super Bowl, so who cares? You're admitting to, like, hey, yeah, we played the game tough too. Like we played the game sloppy. We bent some rules. Yeah. We bent some rules, but who cares? Right. I mean, this article in essence,
it's copium. It's copium. It's an attempt to find a moral victory. And you know what? This isn't youth sports. There is no. We lost today, but our character.
We gave them hell, boys. We'll get them next time. No, this isn't that. That's not what's going on here.
This is power politics, baby. Win or die.
Basically, I feel like the moral of this story was when you read this article, and it's so it's so moving. It's so long too. It's just like it's overly long. Like they want you to just revel in what they did. The one thing I noticed is like the first 10% of the article is acting like it's bipartisan. It's acting like it's reporting. Did you notice that? Like it's bringing you in. It's bringing in the normies with a brain. It's gonna act like. They say, "Oh, Trump was right about this one thing," and then the last 90% of it is just, partisan. Our side is amazing, rainbows, flowers, and beautiful, and the other side is evil.
It's righteous, and because we
basically the moral of this story.
Yeah, we would call these.
Yeah. The moral of this story is as follows. No, the moral of the story is as follows. Good guys doing bad things equals good things. That's what they're trying to get across there. Good guys doing bad things equals good things. Because they're the good guys, they can brag about all of the bad things they did and pretend like they're not even bad. Like they were just, they were fantastic. They were great. They were unifying. And that equals good.
We did it. We did it.
This is the epitome
of.
of right. I mean, talk about the ends justify the means, right? I mean, this is not only, this isn't simply rationalizing it by saying the ends justify the means. This is bragging about it. That look what we did for you and all the nasty stuff we had to do to get there. Now, that's basically what they're saying. And okay, the part that just really bugged me was, okay, we all know that the United States of America is a republic. We have elements of democracy in it, but could they call the nation a democracy? Could they call it a democracy like any more times? I mean, how many times do they call it that in this article? 75? I don't even know. I mean, I should have counted, but I don't want to reread it. Really, you could do that. Okay. Well, but yeah, it's endless. It's endless with the, calling us a democracy and then talking about the. Wow, that is a lot. So, just constantly talking about what this is going to happen to our democracy, which, by the way, I'm sorry, throw my tinfoil hat on. I didn't make a tinfoil hat this week. I was going to do that. Throw my tinfoil hat on, but democracy. Yeah. Democracy is the original conspiracy theory. Truly. Democracy is the original conspiracy theory. Democracy, because screw the other 48%. That's what you're saying when, you have democracy. That's why no country is based on democracy. Liberty is important. Freedom is important. Procedure is important. Democracy is stupid. Actually, it's actually really stupid. But they love to talk about how this was going to threaten our democracy. Yeah. That's right in my wheelhouse. That is right in my wheelhouse.
We are gonna
have in this article how they talk about how this guy
the show here eventually. I'm sure here in the next year or so.
Dorf, how much did you love in this article the idea that like they pointed out like how this guy used the strategy he used while he was coaching his kids' baseball team.
I'm not there, but I can be convinced.
Like, oh wow, but really at the end of the day, he's just a regular guy who coaches his kids' baseball team. No, it was, but right because it's like wow, you bent the rules in your kids' baseball league.
It's a bad analogy.
That helped you be so good at bending the rules here. That's great.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. No, what's even more
Nice.
What's even more insulting? Supreme Court has on their conference schedule this month an election fraud case from 2020. Can't hear. I'm not even saying that necessarily Giuliani and co. would have prevailed in the merits. The idea that the courts have spoken and this case had no merit. No, you never reach the evidentiary phase. And any lawsuit filed by Trump or approved associates, the Sidney Powells and the Lynch, by the way, conveniently are nowhere to be found. This is they fucking destroy the low information right and just destroy. I don't know. the or at least knock off the feet the Republican political movement. They conveniently disappeared. Anyway, and by the way, Wood, his original most famous was Jewel, Atlanta. I think it was the Atlanta Olympics bombing. He represented Richard Jewell. That's how he originally cut his teeth. But his most recent famous case was either being partners for fucking them out of their portions of money, or
Kyle Rittenhouse.
The defense of Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank God he's no longer involved with that. And quite frankly, the kid finally has a competent attorney on site. Finally has a competent attorney, but somebody who at least sounds like they have a square head on their shoulders. I can't speak to their efficacy in law, but Robert Barnes has joined his defense here in the past week. The kid's ultimately fucked because unfortunately he's going to be put on trial in.
There's more to it than that, Dorf. There's more to it than that, Dorf. The prosecuting attorney in court actually said that he would leak it. He actually said right there in front of, judge, defense attorney, and defendant. Yeah, he actually said that as soon as that comes out where he lives, that he was going to leak it. Knowing that this guy's getting death threats, so this is why they didn't do it. He was court ordered. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So truth. He was court ordered. He was court ordered to do it, and he did not comply. But he did not comply after the prosecuting attorney had said that he would leak the information and make it public. Yeah, make his new address public knowledge. This is what's going on in this case, guys. This is what's happening with this. So I don't know. You know what?
Blue Central, with the Dems holding power at the executive, with the federal level. So the kid's fucked anyway, and there was no one can, there was this freak out article that no one can find Kyle Rittenhouse. Well, they trial because in this locality, so I would argue move it out of sight. If they don't die on that hill, he doesn't have a competent legal defense, in my amateur opinion here. Because not only have a prosecutor who's not just going, prosecutors are corrupt as fuck to begin with. They have prosecutors have perverse political incentives to not act in the best interest of justice. There we go.
No, that's they always want to rip apart the defendant. They
want to scalp
the defendant because
they don't want justice,
the defending attorney is so obviously a scumbag, right? And that's it's so easy to make that correlation. I'm not talking about this case, Dorf. I'm not talking about this case, Dorf. I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about like people watching LA Law and the practice at home. And the people
thankfully, I
the
think he's
O.J. Simpson and the Jussie Smollett.
Okay.
Well, LA Law and the practice. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
we gotta.
You know what that
we gotta.
Proof of,
we gotta
Dorf,
update your reference.
I haven't watched TV in a really long time.
Those shows were on television.
I really have not. I do not. I don't watch TV. So the practice in LA law, definitely boomer out of date references there, but this is what I mean. This is Law and Order or whatever it is. The defendant. It's so easy to make the defendant look like a scumbag because the defendant has to defend the guy that has obviously committed murder, the guy that obviously broke into that store. But really, it's the defendant is the show corruption, while the prosecutor is the go corruption. The prosecutor is the one who's in there, right with the system, curtailing everything throughout it. So it's so easy to point out it's low hanging fruit, if you will, to point out the corruption of the defense attorneys, but the prosecutors are they're right there with them. I assure you. Speaking of corruption, Dorf, one thing I want to say, that I like to rip apart both sides.
Yeah.
And we've definitely been ripping apart the left more on this one and what they've done for very good reason. Yeah, but
oh, don't worry, I've got.
I want to point out
say about the political cowardice of the right.
Nobody wants to hear this, by the way. Nobody wants to hear what I'm about to say. The left doesn't want to hear it. The right doesn't want to hear it. The Trump supporters certainly don't want to hear this, but the Democrats don't want to hear it either. They might pretend like they are okay with it, but they don't want to hear it either. And that's that Donald Trump is an absolute failure as a president. The reason I'm saying this is because the one thing that made Donald Trump palatable, that made him okay, was that Donald Trump was going to drain the swamp. That's why people wanted Donald Trump to be president, was that Donald Trump was going to drain the swamp, right? Donald Trump, I'm sorry to say, was a complete
unified
failure.
The swamp.
Because the swamp...
He didn't drain it, he unified it.
The swamp is swampier than ever. He did nothing to make the swamp less swampy. Nothing whatsoever at all, even the littlest bit. The swamp is swampier than ever. The swamp is so deep. You can write this off as... You can write it off that he underestimated how swampy the swamp was. You can say, no, he just tried and straight up failed. He's just a failure. That's what he tried to do, and he failed in doing it. Or you could say, it doesn't matter. Either one of those. If it's... Yeah, I'll keep, Super Bowl was last Sunday. I'll keep throwing that exact thing. You can say that Patrick Mahomes, that they, and his squad there, that they underestimated Brady and the Bucs. Or you can say that they just simply weren't good enough. They lost to the better team. But does it matter? No. They lost either way. They lost. And this is what I'm saying. So does it matter why Trump failed in this? In the grand scheme of things, no, it does not. If the Republicans and the Trumpkins and the people out there that want to support Trump, if they want to say, well, it's just because Trump didn't realize how deep the swamp was, well, then he screwed up. Then he screwed up, Either he came unprepared or he just simply lost. And I don't know. I don't know if he underestimated the swamp or if the swamp was just better than him at his job. But either way, swamp won. Swamp 1, Trump 0 right now. That was the final score of the last 4 years. Because he certainly did nothing to drain the swamp. And that's all I heard. I'm sorry. If, when I told people why I didn't like Donald Trump, they told me that I know he's not very palatable. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I know he's not very palatable, but he's going to drain the swamp. He's going to do what's right. And I'll say it again, guys. The swamp isn't any less shallow. The swamp isn't any less dirty, gross, smelly, or swampy. The swamp is there. And Donald Trump is a blip in history around it. Sad truth, I know. And for all you Democrats out there, all you leftists, all you Trump haters out there saying, yeah, Josh, tell it like it is. Tell why Trump is a failure. That swamp I'm talking about is the one your people live in. You know, it's the swamp that Joe Biden was born and raised in. Joe Biden is the swamp thing. You know, that's simply how it is. You know, he's what came out of it. And this Time magazine article is showing you exactly who the swamp is and who's really running the show. Because none of these cats they were talking about in the Time magazine article, none of them have been elected to anything. None of them are, you know, they talk about democracy. So much democracy over and over and over again. Democracy. These people weren't elected to anything. They just made all these choices for America. They came in, they took control of this situation, and they altered it, and not a one of them was voted for. Good, what's up?
Josh, we got some breaking news on this front. Exile political reporter throughout the entire campaign was banging Biden's deputy press secretary. Axios, who did some very, not the worst piece of, you know, cathedral enemy the people drivel.
This is assistant press secretary,
but landed some
not this broad, that's
Is it because you're spokesperson? She was. I don't know what her role. I don't know if she had a role. No, she didn't have a role in the campaign. She was working at MSNBC at the time. No, he was essentially the national spokesperson. You saw him on TV quite a bit. TJ Ducklow.
Well, there's that. Reporter. There is that. Sure.
Oh, by the way, I got it. So this was not a topic in a rundown tonight. Kind of as we wrap it up here. What do you think about the new Defense Department leadership attempting to extremism from the ranks of the DoD?
Well, I don't have my tinfoil hat, but you'll just have to imagine it's there. But Dorf, we're
they're creating political purity tests for service with the armed forces. God, this is like straight out of
Dorf. Listen, okay, please.
Nightmare Orwell book.
I didn't mean to say that like you weren't listening, but the last year of our lives have been an active plot to put us into totalitarianism. Okay. That is so there's a whole bunch of people out there hearing that who just say, cheers, dude's right, what up, homie? And there's a whole bunch of other people out there who think I'm a nut, who think I'm a conspiracy theorist, who think I should have my tinfoil hat on when I say that. And I say to you, those people out there, I don't care what you think. Those people out there who think all this over the last year was about a virus. Those people out there who think that all this is on the up and up. Those people out there who really, truly say to me, I haven't lost any liberty in the last year. To those people, I don't care about you anymore. I don't care what you think. Okay? You're asleep. You are asleep. Yes, they are absolutely a lost cause to me. They are asleep and they can't be woken up. I don't know what to tell people out there. I'm still giving it the college try when it comes to trying to wake people up to what's going on in this world. But if you're not woke up yet, if you're still asleep after everything that's happened in the last year, I really want to say 3 years, but especially in the last year, if you're still asleep through all that, then I don't know what to tell you. When it's burning down, I'm not going to be able to wake you up then either. I mean, it's like you slept through the boom. Should I try to wake you up before the building blows up? Before the building burns down? I guess I'm going to keep trying. But it's not there. Listen, there's crazier guys out there than me. There really is. I'm not going to tell you that COVID-19 doesn't exist. I'm not going to tell you that Trump really won the election. I'm not going to tell you that I don't know. I'm not going to feed you some QAnon, Russian this, China that BS. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm not. But for God's sakes, if you're an awake, intelligent person living in the modern world over the last year, and you don't see that they're looking to globally reset this place through whatever means necessary, if you don't see that, absolutely. So, I mean, you don't see that, then, okay, first of all, if you don't see that, don't watch this podcast anymore. Seriously, go watch Seinfeld or Beverly Hills 90210 reruns. I bet The Masked Singer is on. You would definitely rather watch those shows than this because you don't want to think. You really don't. You don't want to think. The Bachelor or American Idol or Masked Singer is on one of your channels right now as we speak. So go watch that instead. Because you're asleep. Doesn't matter. I know. Your great uncle died of COVID. My condolences. But I didn't say it was fake. I'm saying that there's people in this world who are truly running this show. This is theater. This is theater for the masses. There are people out there running this show that you don't see. And if you doubt that, read the Time Magazine article that Dorf and I have been talking about for the last hour. Go read that article. And you will see that the world is not what you think it is. It's just not. It's not. So wake up. So yeah, DOD, Dorf, sorry, that was a roundabout answer for that. Yeah, DOD, this is, yeah, get ready to.
No, that's good.
As soon as we start not being captivated by the COOF or elections or Joe Biden's 75,000 executive orders. Yeah, there's look forward to the next reason we need to bomb the Middle East. Look forward to that. Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. There's already been a troop surge in Afghanistan and Syria. And you know what? And here's the thing. So the specific focus on these DoD purges is for quote unquote. If this was a common or a section of what white supremacy may be, okay, I can understand the need for looking into that. But this is the loony bin left version of white supremacy. So if you aren't a racial supremacist for pick a minority group that isn't Asian in the United States, you're a white supremacist. If you're not a black racial activist or a Latino racial activist, you're a white supremacist in the eyes of being the definition for this.
Dorf, let me ask you something, if I may. Can I ask you something real quick? Okay, just and I'll go in, of course, but I was wondering. I wanted to ask you something. Have you ever met a white supremacist? Because we're both white. We're both white. So have you? Okay, you've met what? One, two, a couple? Because I don't think I have. Okay, because I don't think I have, honestly. I've met some people. I've met some people that I think are kind of racist. That I know some people in my head. I would never say their name, but I'm a white guy. I've been a white guy my whole life. I work a blue collar job. I'm that. Right. But and when you work a blue collar job, sometimes people think that you're, like that or something. Like you're not very smart. Yeah, you're not very smart. So I've heard white guys say racist things. I've definitely heard that. I've met some guys that I think are racist. But I don't think I've ever met anyone who's a white supremacist. I really don't think I have. I know none. And you would think that I would. You would think that I would have come across that at some point in my life. I'm not young. You would think that would happen. And the way white supremacist gets thrown around these days, I mean, listen, I've been in sitting at the end of a bar and a guy tells a racist joke that I don't care for, or I've been around people that have said comments where I take a step back, but I've never met a white supremacist though. So the idea that they're just everywhere, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Right.
Purge. And I hate to break it to you. So go ahead. Actually, yes. Actually, writing, in government at this point. Not only what I find funny is you're largely making the same mistake as post fall of Saddam Iraq here. You've just laid off a bunch it's a funny meme here. Biden in his first days laid off a bunch of assistant bulldozers and welding skills. For those who don't know what I'm alluding to by that, I encourage you to Google one Martin Heemeyer or the phrase killdozer, and you'll know what I mean. And now you're about to go after the ranks of the Special Forces Group.
Yeah, the Archangel, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we're going to make, the Celtic Cross. What? Or what, is it St. Michael who's the patron saint of soldiers, if I remember correctly? Or some sort of symbolism related to whatever the patron saint of soldiers. Yeah, it might be the patron saint of soldiers. I forget who it is. You're going after symbolism of that, whether it's memes, social media, tattoos, wall art in people's houses. You're going to go after that, which is, quite frankly, you ask these guys to go run through gunfire, they're going to need, the heroic lives necessary, necessary to sustain folks willing to repeatedly go to otherwise have to. This isn't a conscript army where it's this or, your own side will kill you. It's something you volunteered for.
No, and
that symbolism is pervasive, and it has nothing to do with thinking that, folks with white skin are than others. But if you're going to go after that classic character, and all of a sudden, what's even funnier is the Biden administration all of a sudden has an obsession with the Pepe meme again. Pepe's been a dead meme since
the left camp meme, we all know that.
Like, the Kekistan flag. 2017 called. They want their meme back. Like, the shelf life of the left can't meme, or and on top of it doesn't realize that memes have
nice
the half-life of element 115 Govium, like 32 minutes. Yeah, hey,
got him.
I think I got that. I'm pretty sure it's element 115, incredibly short half-life. The reason it's named that is because it was discovered or produced in a lab by some Russian folk in Moscow. But you're not going to you're going to go purge all these guys. You're going to chapter them out of the army is the phrase being used, because they fail a political purity test. So you're going to have a bunch of well-armed, well-trained dudes who you've just made political enemies, who are all going to be pissed off and potentially do something about it. So you've created, by the way, in the similar way, and you're now exposed to, in private life, to do political purges of those that they find desirable. So are we going to have the fallout of post-Saddam Iraq, which ever essentially can't work? Guess what those folks went and did? They started ISIS,
yep,
who was largely incredibly successful in the administration. I'm not saying that it would be wise or that America could have a terrorist insurgency, but would that be to return to the normalization of the 60s, 70s, and 80s of political terrorism in the United States?
And Dorf, the thing about that too is that when you're talking about that, so many people in the Ba'ath Party were maybe only there to help out their business or help out their help out their family. Sure. So the thing is with that is that, okay, and the thing with ISIS, I never know what to think about ISIS. Did Trump destroy ISIS, or did we just stop talking about ISIS because we had so much fodder with Orange Man, or was ISIS ever that big a deal? I don't know. It's a news media narrative that I don't know how to feel about it. Mm. Yeah, which this is another point. I'd love to do a full show about what I'm about to say. We don't have time for it tonight, but I'll just make the comment. Whether it be ISIS, whether it be the what's the group down in the Muslim group in Africa? I always want to call them Procol Harum, but that's the 70s rock band. Boko Haram, yeah, that's the guys. Yeah, those are it's them. Whether it's what's going on in Europe and whether it's what's going on right here in the good old US of A, with what you just talked about, Dorf, with guys getting kicked out of the military for Celtic. The most what's the word I'm looking for here? The most persecuted people on planet Earth right now, despite what anyone wants to tell you, despite what Fox News or CNN wants to tell you, the most persecuted group of people on planet Earth right now are Christians. They are the people who are by far the most persecuted group of people on planet Earth. Whether it be physical persecution, getting your heads chopped off over in the Middle East, whether it be persecution here in the United States by getting canceled or getting kicked out of the military,
or it'd be the one way to be gainfully employed,
being called out on social media. That is by far the most persecuted group of people on Earth. They're getting killed all over the planet, and here in the land of the free, they are getting picked apart. They're getting picked apart. But this goes.
I don't have what I'm saying. Josh, I don't have a data-centric argument to argue, but the only point I want to make is persecution is not unique to religion.
Yeah, definitely.
Out of the three main or major,
but one's taking the one's taking the cake right now,
physically or politically or otherwise. If somewhere you can find it everywhere.
Definitely.
I mean, look. I mean, even Muslims. You're looking at there was just a military coup in Myanmar. Myanmar is military Muslim minority for you. You look at what the Chinese are working their Uyghur Muslim minority. They're working their men to death. Their eugenics of existence. Because they happen to be still holding on to their religion, whereas the Han Chinese are largely a-religious. The religion is the CCP. The Uyghurs have held on to Islam as a religion, and they are being, in a best case scenario for them right now.
No doubt about
enslavement, and that's sad. They're being killed. Their women are honestly their women are forced to sleep with ethnically Han men to destroy their lineage.
Yeah, it's terrible. No, it's terrible.
Not to mention if you want to look at the thermal imaging, satellite imaging of certain areas in concentration camps housing the weak men. It sure looks like some mass cremation furnaces are going. Sorry, the excuses what the Chinese have given. It's a pub.
Yeah. listen, Dorf. Uh, Dorf, listen. When you're talking about China, China has been a human rights hellhole for 75 straight years. It's the worst place on earth. Well, okay, but do you know why? Do you know why China wasn't the hellhole for human rights before that? Because before that, before 75 years ago, roughly, it wasn't them who were persecuting their people. It was the Japanese. It was other people were persecuting their people. But since China has right. As I
That's
can't be done.
It's but
even if you were advocating for it, it can't be done, man.
The tribal conflict in
They'll keep
or the narco
they'll keep coming
the narco issues with narco terrorism in Central America. I mean,
it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game, my dude. They'll keep coming over that hill for 50 years.
Oh,
That's what it's about in China. Now, Dorf, what I was roundaboutly getting to before
pretty quick. You're right.
Is, hearkening back to my 2 rants ago. So when it comes to DOD, when it comes to kicking people out of when it comes to persecuting people for religious reasons. And yes, I agree. Religion isn't the only thing that people are persecuted for. There's any number of things. But right now on planet Earth, your people are getting persecuted for religion far more than anything else. But if you are going to reset the world, yeah, I would say there's times there was times when people were more being persecuted for race more than religion, or culture more than religion, or ethnicity more than religion.
Josh, that's also the story.
But that's
of
not
humanity.
the case right now.
That's also the story of it. That's not. When wars stop being for resources or plunder,
if you are going to reset the world, you have to throw away everything. You have to trash
their societies,
everything that held that world apart, which is what has happened or begun to happen in the last year. You have to destroy the way people do everything so they can reset. And that's why we will probably never go to movie theaters the same way we used to. We will probably never go to sporting events the same way we used to. We will not have concerts the way we used to. We will not have government the way we used to. We will not have religious freedom the way we will not have anything the way it used to be. They have to trash it. They have to show you that what you're doing can't be done anymore. Even if it comes back later, that's okay. But it has to be shown that we have the power to shut it down. We've done it before. We'll do it again. That's what's being done here. Maybe in 2025, maybe even 2022, I don't know. Maybe movie theaters will open like they used to. But they had to show you, though. They had to show you that if we want to get rid of this, we'll get rid of it. That's what had to happen. That's what had to happen. It's the big kid on the playground flexing. You know, it's not enough. If you just go out and tell everyone you're the toughest kid on the playground every day, that'll work for a while. But eventually, someone is going to question it, and you're going to have to prove it. The last year was them proving it. It was the elites proving it. We all knew. The people out there thinking, the people out there watching, we all knew that we didn't have any liberty anymore. We knew we didn't have any freedom. But for those people out there who still thought, America, home of the brave, land of the free, whatever, they had to show them. They had to show them that no, you are not free. You're not free. You are not brave.
Hold the phone there, buddy.
That's you're not. You're not. You will fold like a lawn chair when it comes time to talk about this. They had to show it though. They had to prove it. They had to prove it.
And you know what? And the one positive outcome out of this last year's worth of taking it on the chin, we at least are the of liberty have at least shown themselves. It's not a secret anymore who you need to be working to actively working against, and that list is a lot longer than. So,
the United States of America, Dorf, was the big, nice, dumb kid on the playground. That nice guy that was going to defend you. He's going to defend you, right? He was gonna help you out. So what do you got to do? You know, it doesn't matter if you take away France's liberty, England's liberty, Australia's liberty. They don't have any liberty over there. No, you got to go on the playground. You got to kick the United States' ass. Yeah, you got to go on the playground and you got to take that dumb kid, the U.S., that guy who thinks he's free, that guy who's going to defend all the other ones. You got to go on the playground. You got to kick his ass. That's what 20. Right. That's you didn't fight a big fight. It was nothing valiant. It wasn't knock down, drag him out. You walked up, you kicked him in the nuts, and you walked away. He went down like a prom date. That's it.